Our key factor to winning against TSM is just outplaying them in our lanes and grouping up and pushing faster and applying pressure in all lanes all the time.
Welcome back to opening day of the North American LCS Summer Split. But before we get into our next game between TSM and Cloud9, I'd like to welcome Velocity's Chris to the desk. So you crushed FaZe's last game. You did amazingly. First blood, dominated the whole way through. How good were you feeling coming into this match?
I was feeling really good. I don't need learning top lane now, and it's rough switching from AD to top. So I was really confident.
Speaking of confidence and feeling good, we heard your yell after you got the first blood 1v1 up there. What does that do to set the tone for the rest of the game?
Once we get that first blood, like my confidence, like I just get so pumped up and I'm ready to like wreck faces.
Is it difficult being sort of an emotion-driven player where like if you get the kill, you're like ready to kill people? Like, is it harsh if you get like an early death?
Yeah, it sets you back down mentally, so I try not to feed first blood a lot.
Good strategy. That's a good strategy. We also saw you, you're a huge factor whenever you had your flash up to get in there with your slicing Maelstrom. What were you thinking when, you got hooked in by Chowster at that last team fight? Were you looking to capitalize on that? Was that just fortune smiling on you, or did you try and maneuver yourself?
I was trying to get in front of the hook and try to get hooked in so I could just flash ult into everybody and kill everyone. That was pretty much what I was trying to do.
So talk to us about your actual Kennen pick in this game. What's drawn you to pick that champion in this game?
I know that the reason we picked him is because Kennen's like an AD top champ, and I thought Nian would pick him up because he's like AD. So I don't play that much Kennen, but I just picked him so Nian couldn't have him.
Sure fooled us. You did amazing with that guy. So I mean, coming through into the game then, right, and into the team fights, you won your lane. How do you transition that into sort of controlling the map and winning the actual game for your team?
Basically, I push the tower, take the tower, and then I roam with my team. We got a bunch of free dragons because Nian had to hold top a lot, and it was a 4v5, and they would lose if they try to contest drag. So we got a bunch of free dragons and a lot of towers.
Cool. Well, of course, congratulations on that win. So let's talk then about your team in general. So the first thing I want to bring out is we played a video before the match started, and Double F said that Velocity was the weakest team in the LCS. How do you feel about that?
We didn't look pretty weak. I thought we went strong. Double F's always been cocky like that, so we're used to it, I guess.
What makes you guys so strong as a team?
Just the synergy we have. We've played a lot together, and I troll a lot in scrims, so like I gotta stop that.
So speaking of synergy, you guys are in a gaming house now, right? And Vile Rose, we've heard, is going to bring some family members into that gaming house. Is that what's going to go on with that situation there? Is that gonna actually go through?
We haven't got the gaming house yet, but we're looking for one, and yeah, he'd bring his family.
It's gonna be a larger than normal gaming house. I'm looking forward to that. So talking about then your actual practice regimen, if you're not in a house yet, how do you stay focused? How do you keep your practice regimen up?
Everybody we have a time to get on, and everyone's on. Everyone's ready to practice and be the best.
How do you basically, how do you guys practice? Like, do you just look for scrimmages? Do you watch a lot of your own games? Do you watch a lot of other games and try to learn from other players? Like, how do you kind of divide that up?
We have a coach, and like he screenshots a lot of plays, and we just go over them, and just to see what we messed up on and what we could do better. And yeah, that's pretty much screenshots.
Are you guys looking at the Korean scene for any input? Does he research those all? Because Cloud9, the other new team in the LCS, says that's pretty much all that they look at. Yeah,
we look at some Korean footages too, and we do a lot. We do a lot of everything.
Cool. So you guys come into the season, and you've looked great so far. Commanding a win over a team like Counterlogic Gaming has got to look good for you guys. What's coming up for you guys the rest of the split? How's it going to go?
We're just going to keep working hard and try not to lose the game so early, because it looks good when you have a win and no defeats.
So who's your biggest competition then? Who's going to get in the way of that 28-0?
TSM and Cloud9, I think, would be the most difficult, in my opinion. And everyone else, every team's good. I feel like everyone's solid, so it's going to be a tough ride.
All right, Chris, thank you very, very much, and we look forward to seeing you guys continue to do amazing throughout this season, and maybe we even see you in the World Finals one day at the end of the year. But Chris, thank you very much. It's time for our 5th match of opening day, which is going to be Team Solo Mid versus Cloud9. Now, these teams come into the summer split as favorites to finish at the top of the standings, and after impressive wins by both squads, there's no reason to get off the hype trains.
Yeah, Cloud9 definitely lived up to the hype by beating Dignitas in less than 30 minutes. And Meteos has still not died in the LCS studios. He's been playing in here, and he has not died once. His Nasus was on point, going 1-0 and 7. He took those buff steals just in stride and just went straight for tower pushes.
Yeah, you take Lizard and Blue, I'll steal a turret, and we're going to be equal, and I'm going to go ahead of you in gold. But while Cloud9... while Cloud9 had more than a silver lining in their first game, if they want to prove they can really be a top team in the LCF, they have to prove they can beat the Spring Split champions, the most dominant team in the history of the league, Team Solo Mid.
Yeah, TSM looked great in today's win over Coast. It only took them 30 minutes to get the win, and Reginald showed off his skills roaming around the map as at Kazakhs. He got the early lead because Zed was roaming, and he just he did really phenomenally, 7-2 and 7 with that Kazakhs.
Yeah, he did absolutely amazingly as the player, and the TSM strat to get Reggie fed worked so well. But, an early win against Cloud9 would go a long way in asserting their summer split dominance. It might mean a little more than just one member of TSM.
Yeah, Wild Turtle is going to be facing off against his old team and his old support, Lemon Nation. TSM saw Cloud9 at the MLG Dallas and just scooped him up after Cloud9 won that Challenger tournament. And that left Lemon Nation to train yet another AD carry, Sneaky. He looked great in his first game in the LCS and go, 5-0 and 2 as that Draven in their win over Dignitas.
Absolutely impressive performance. So let's take a look at this game starting lineup. On the blue side, it is Team Solo Mid. Got Dyrus in the top lane, the odd one in the jungle, Reginald still in mid, Wild Turtle, that redemptive AD carry, and Xpecial on support.
And in the red corner, it's Cloud9. Balls is up top. Meteos is in the jungle. High is at mid. Sneaky's on AD, and Lemon Nation is supporting.
So let's see if these guys can see if Wild Turtle can beat his old team. It's going to be a fun match overall. So we talked about the hype trains, right? TSM, I mean, if you don't put them as at least top 2 this season, I'm wondering what you're doing with your power rankings, because they've been winning American events since forever.
Yeah, I mean, they placed first in the last split, so you might as well put them up there. And speaking of the hype train, we just interviewed, Chris. He just won. He's a player in this split, and he said these 2 teams right here, these are the 2 to watch out for. Very fortunate that we're going to see this game right now between these 2, so we can actually see, of the 2, who's even the most dangerous right at the beginning.
Yeah, that true test of skill is going to be a fun one to watch. Now, guys, we've got a good number of people up into the game lobby so far. We're not going to be too long until the game does indeed start for us. But you're looking at Cloud9 right there. They're fresh on the scene. Well, fresh on the professional scene, I should say, right? They dominated the Challenger circuit for a while. And they kind of just keep knocking down every challenge that's put up in front of them.
Yeah, and they have not really bought into the hype train themselves. They said, yes, we know our team, we're very strong, and we're going to keep on playing, but they haven't set any ridiculous expectations of themselves. So they're playing a very relaxed, they're almost like the new kid in school that's just super cool about it. They're just going to waltz right in, win most of their games, and just let their actions speak for them.
It's funny, like, how much, how their sort of approach to the season has differed, because we talked to Reginald at the very beginning of the day, and he said, yeah, we went 21 and 7. I want to cut that down to like 3 losses. I think that's realistic. We can go 25 and 3. I think that's a realistic goal for this season. We're going to go for that. I talked to the Cloud9 guys, and they're like, we're going to go 1 and 20. We won, so 1 and 27. That's our goal, 1 and 27.
Yeah, they're also big fans of sarcasm and joking around too. So I don't know how much they actually mean that. Reggie, though, meanwhile, he's one of the hardest working guys that you'll meet, and he will not be satisfied until they finally end up one season going undefeated. He will keep on pushing the entire team, because they're not even setting their sights on just being the best in North America. They want to be the best in the world.
They do want to be the best in the world, and they've played so many world championships and in so many just global tournaments that it's an interesting sort of mix here, because this is pretty much the old schoolest lineup you could get. It really, really is. I mean, the TSM name's been around there forever, almost as long as Counter Logic Gaming. A lot of those guys have been in that roster from the very beginning, and Cloud9, their roster's changed a fair bit. They really only came together, I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because like way back when, it was like Orbit, like Niantanz was on that group, and there like one or two of those faces you could still recognize here. And the lineup kept changing, the tag kept changing. They had like 17 tags so far, whatever. And now they're like, great, now we're on the stage as well. Let's bring it.
Yeah, they've gone through quite a bit of changes, and one of those changes was even at TSM's hand, stealing away that wild turtle. But TSM, like we said, they want to be the best in the world, not just North America. They've really just had their butts handed to them every time they've gone up against Koreans. So they've really sort of got a chip on their shoulders, and they definitely put their noses to the grind and want to just train as hard as possible here. So when they do see the Koreans next time, hopefully it won't go quite as poorly as it's gone so far.
We know it's good training for that, though, is the team that self-professes that all we do is copy the Koreans.
Yeah.
So Cloud9, at the very least, is good training for beating up Koreans.
Exactly. Cloud9 seems to be, modeling themselves after the teams that are TSM's kryptonite.
Yeah.
If one of the teams was going to, just murder TSM in the North American scene, it would be these guys that are self-professed mirrors to Korean teams.
Yeah, and it's fun, too, because a lot of the actual champion lineups are very similar as well, right? You look, both AD carries are Draven players. Lemonation played with Wild Turtle for a while. You look at High and Reginald, who are both going to play like Twisted Fate or Zed or Kha'Zix, like a heck of a lot. Like, it's going to be interesting also, even just as early on as Champion Select, where kind of everyone's contesting for the same things.
And Champion Select is going to be really interesting because Cloud9 has said that they don't play just their favorite champions. They play what's considered OP. They don't care. You don't like playing Zach? It doesn't matter. He's strong right now. You're going to learn him. And Zach, they actually got it picked away from them the last time they showed up. And I don't know if that's actually going to be such a big deal for them as it used to be, because he has been recently, balanced. They toned down his passive HP regen, which was just ridiculously high there at 12.5. They pulled it down a full rejuvenation beads worth. If that means anything to you guys, like that's a full item that they took off of him. That's how ridiculously high it used to be, and now it's the same, around the same as most other melee champions. So
on top of that awesome real passive that he has, so definitely a great one there, and it even helps Meteos keep that 0 death streak. Yeah, because I feel like his Zac pass has been popped at some point.
He definitely has been. He's been cut into pieces, but they haven't been able to just finish off the last little piece of flubber.
Now we'll see if they can turn that one around this time, because we are now into Champion Select, everybody. Of course, you can tell because it's on your screens, but Team Silamid are on the blue side. Cloud9 up in the red. The TF, wow, actually it's Reginald's team who's banning away Twisted Fate.
Yeah, if you model yourselves after Koreans, first thing you're learning is TF, because that's 100% pick ban over there. So even after the balance changes to TF with the ultimate cooldown and all the stuff that we talked about earlier, still first ban right there for them. So 2-3 globals off the field now.
They are really targeting that out. The Karthus dropped away from Reginald. The Shen taken away from Dyrus. Cloud9 definitely respecting a lot of the solo laners here from TSM. Thresh dropped out as well, and it's TSM's time for their third and final ban to start through this Champion Select.
Yeah, not too surprising either, the bans from Cloud9, because at the end of the spring split, we talked about how everyone, has been just rolling right into the summer split. TSM made their big comeback using a lot of these global comps. They brought back the Karthus, they brought back the Shen with Nocturne combo, dive buddies just going straight to the back. So no surprises, want to get those off the field. The Jace not really surprising either, because so many people after All-Stars have said, this is the most broken champion in the game. He's so strong. All these Koreans can just do the amazing things with him. We don't want to let him through.
So I'm intrigued to see how these picks end up panning through, because it's interesting. So the Cloud9 bans, except for Kha'Zix, are pretty TSM aimed. Like, Kha'Zix is actually kind of shared on both rosters, but Karthus and Shen are kind of more one-sided in the ban orders, whereas, like, TF, Thresh, Jace, those are all shared picks. TSM are banning out champs that they could play themselves just to deny Cloud9 options.
Well, it's interesting because Cloud9 can actually play all those too. They're very disciplined in their training, and so they have learned these champions. But they're so flexible. It doesn't matter if they ban out their own champions. And the Kha'Zix thing, I have to say, is just purely reactive. They've taken what they've seen here so far today, and they're Reggie on that Kha'Zix. Don't want to see that again. So they're reactive with their bans, and they're flexible. They pick it up.
All right, so Team Sulamid have run down there and first pick the Elise. We've seen her be popular overall, and heck, we saw Oddman on it not that long ago. But Cloud9 running a very similar team so far. They've got the Kennen, they've got the Draven.
We've seen Kennen be ridiculously successful already today, and Draven as well. Very strong champion. You always want to take that away from Wild Turtle. We hyped this up a lot when Wild Turtle first joined the LCS, but Draven was what he was known for. That's how he crushed his way through solo queue. So taking that away from him is actually both really strong for Sneaky and taking away a really go-to pick here for TSM.
All right, well, now it's Team Sulamid's turn to make their own choices here. With some of those options dropped out, and they're going to say, yeah, our bottom lane will indeed be Sona Ezreal. So a little bit of a new look for these guys.
Yeah, we're curious to see if we'll see a blue Ezreal from Wild Turtle. There's so many options with Ezreal. He's such a versatile character. Even though they haven't locked in the rest of their champions, so we can't really lock down where he's going. Reggie plays a mean Ezreal too. Keep that in the back of your minds. Odd1, not so much in the jungle. It's probably going to be that jungle Elise because, like Jat said, he has just been a fiend with that jungle Elise all the way through solo queue, got all the way up to challenger for the first time for him, and she just has so many tools to pull off interesting ganks that it's fun to watch.
It is fun to watch. And Cloud9, though, speaking of fun to watch, have grabbed that Zac with the big bounces, the elastic slingshots, and all that fun stuff, and they're still running a very similar team, and Meteos no stranger to Zac, of course.
Yeah, we talked it up at the beginning, and that's one of his favorite picks. They actually did let it get through. He's going to be going right back to that blob. We'll have to see if TSM can actually stomp out all four this time and be the first in the LCS studios to actually kill Meteos.
Ooh, I guess if there's a team that can do it, it would be TSM. Definitely a respectable team to fight up against. So, most of the lineup is here for Cloud9. TSM now has to lock in their full roster at this point, and that'll tell us what they're looking for here. Ooh, you must be this tall to enter top lane. They grab the Renekton, and the Orianna again being grabbed here for the mid lane.
So this is really interesting for me. I mean, the C9 picks, very reminiscent of Korean teams. No surprise there. Kennen, Ryze, and Zac all popular over there. I would like to see a switch here and go Ryze versus the Renekton. Switch him up top lane. Top lane Ryze, extremely strong. One of the really important reasons why Korean Ryzes and Ryze top lane in general is so strong, he can bully most bruisers. And since Renekton is AD, Ryze doesn't have to use his blue runes, those glyphs, for magic resist, which most mid lane Ryzes you. He can get flat mana. So at level 1, the flat mana glyphs gives you an extra 100 mana, which is half of a Sapphire Crystal. If you start out Sapphire Crystal 2, then his nukes at the beginning of the game are just ridiculous, and he can bully these melee champions. We do see the switch before they actually pull out of the game, so they are definitely going to pull that top lane Ryze. I'm so excited for, and I'll get to say why these Korean ones have been so looked up to. It's all about the starts. We saw what was it, Skara? Every time he got Ryze going up the Koreans, it kind of fell flat there, and everyone was like, what's happening? The Koreans are crushing with Ryze. Has a lot to do with the starts there and the extra mana from both the glyphs and the Sapphire start. So we'll have to see if Balls can actually emulate the Koreans and pull off that bully top lane with Renekton.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one to watch. It's interesting, too, just because, so talking with Hai a little bit, he and Ball switched lanes a little bit. It's interesting because, like, some fan sites have actually Hai listed, like, as the official top laner, just because these guys switch around a little bit. And he said basically, like, in talking to Hai, I talked to him a couple days ago, and he says, lanes switch around so much. Right, the matchups you look for, the lanes you look for, the champions you pick, they switch so much. It's not really like there's a top laner, mid laner. There's two solo laners, and Balls and I are those guys, and we'll go wherever we need to go. It doesn't really matter what our official title is.
That's such a good mentality. I'm so glad that there's teams that are accepting that now. Flexibility is key. That's that's really one of the reasons the Koreans dominated TSM so badly in all their earlier matchups, because of the flexibility of the Korean teams and taking TSM out of their elements. You know, with the jungle changes that are coming up, everything spying 155, it's going to be even more in that vein where matchups can go anywhere. Your dual lane can go to any lane easily. You're not going to have to worry about those double golem starts.
It's going to be fun watching what happens in 3.8, because when you no longer have the easy guess of like, oh, of course the dual lane is going to go where the double golems are. Like, I'm so excited for those mind games when that starts happening, because you've got almost nothing tying you to any of the specific teams. Or any of the specific lanes, I should say. I'm really looking forward to the matchups where it's like, can we hide the Kog'Maw? Can we hide the Vayne? Or, you know, what? Can you find the 2v1? Or is it going to be like, all right, well, 2v1 mid will always work because we get, like, the roam potential. Like, we're seeing that more. Like, the evolution of lanes even is really fun, because it used to be, okay, 2v2 bottom lane. Well, Red's going to actually go 2v1 top lane because double golems. And now it's like, well, we're going to 2v1 mid because we can kill a turret and, like, roam around a whole bunch. And those games just keep elevating.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how the strategies really come full circle in League of Legends. It was a very long time ago that roaming supports were just the most popular strategy. I remember back even when I was playing, you know, roaming Taric was the thing. That was huge. Having the roaming Taric or roaming Alistar as your support was really commonplace. And having that come out very early levels with those hard CC moves was just devastating to so many teams. So we have fixed it back up. Went through the second champion select, and so we're going to get right back in soon.
Yeah, Scumbag Reginald joined before the odd one and was second in the little lineup, and we wanted to make sure you guys had the portraits lined up nice and equal for you guys when the game started. So taking that quick break to make him rejoin, and we're happy the load screen coming through. The game number 5. These teams have both started out 1-0. One of these guys has to take their first loss here. Meteos might even get his first death. We're going to see. No matter what, it's going to be a great game. Yeah,
it'll be very interesting how the lanes actually do match up in this one, because C9 would be happy to go with standard matchups. A Draven lane, always happy to go up against another 2v2 lane, even though it is the really poke-heavy Ezreal Sona. And then, like we said already, Ryze is happy to go up against another solo laner here. So it seems like they're just going to be very flexible. We actually do have some magic resist on balls anyway, so even if he does end up out of a spot that he's not used to, he'll be just fine.
And I'm actually excited to see some of the other differences that have been performed early on in this game. Oh, the Scout Ward goes down. Cloud9 with a 10 gold lead. They've killed Xpecial's Scout Ward. GG.
Uh-oh, that could be huge. 10 gold.
They went on the mid laner. He's going to snowball ahead.
Another thing to point out here is we have the Kennen starting with a Doran's Blade. It's actually a pretty popular start nowadays because Kennen can make such good use of his auto attacks early. If you start with that Doran's Blade and you, as soon as you get your electrical charge, the harass is just ridiculous on him.
Yeah, he's even went hybrid pen marks right here in this matchup. So he has 8 armor pen and 5 magic pen. So that little extra auto attack poke is still going to move on through. And, you know, Jat made the call at the very beginning of Champion Select. First time Cloud9 played was, oh, it might be balls on Ryze and high on Kennen. And so now, like, those two champions have been played by both players in the same lineups.
Yeah,
they've both now swapped it.
Yeah, we talked about flexibility being key, and you can't overstate it enough. It looks like Red's going to get slowed out here, but Sneaky not going to pursue him deep into the forest, and they get out with just that ward down here. The swaps are fairly interesting. Balls, actually, with that Ryze, looks like he'll probably be going middle, since we have Lulu Draven going up top here. And it is going to be high trying to face the 2v1.
Well, they have pulled balls over to go in for this Golem invade. They spot Dyrus, the odd one, and Reginald. Can they do enough damage? The ward is down. A lot of poke coming through with the Draven. Dyrus low on health. Has to take the early Orianna shield from Reginald. They're just trying to buy time, of course. Cloud9 does not have their own smite here. Are they just trying to buy time? Already the odd one has lost interest. They've successfully invaded that.
Yeah, all they were looking for was extra damage from that Golem. It was 3-on-3. Cloud9 were happy to take advantage of that. And now it looks like the same thing going down here versus Meteos.
This is rough for him. He's taking a lot of punishment right there. Down below 100 health. High forced away by Wild Turtle. So on both sides, the jungle invades have been very, very successful. And now it's High trying to pull aggro on the blue buff again. Meteos will smite that one away and get out.
All right, so the blue buff was picked up by Meteos, but Odd One abandoned his blue buff and went over to his red buff. So they both started out with a buff creep, so they're still around the same experience, and it actually won't hurt them too badly. Elise actually suffers a little bit without getting the blue, so Odd1's probably going to grab that one up next as soon as he does have another smite.
So let's see what these guys can now do with this one. Balls versus Reginald. Rise versus Oriana is not a matchup we're too afraid of seeing. We see that one very often. I don't know what the word was supposed to be there, but it's odd to see a top laner fighting against one.
Yeah, and it's interesting how Balls actually did opt to get those magic resist glyphs instead of going mana for the extra bully, and the lottery paid off. He's up against Oriana. The magic resist is going to pay off here. It's interesting to see that he did not go with the hybrid pen runes though, so he's actually only got that magic resist. They're actually really popular on Rise too because he's able to make use of his auto attack. So interesting choices on both sides here from the rune perspective.
Balls didn't even go for the Magic Pen Mastery.
Nope.
He's just got the 10 CDR flat, and then he's just rocking it from there. So I think it's 0921 or 0219 is, I'm guessing, his Mastery build there. But TSM already diving back behind the turret here in this right-hand side lane, and High's just got to say, well, I'm getting zoned out pretty hard right here.
Yeah, so at this point, since the wolves are already gone for him, he doesn't even have anything to fall back on right now. All he can do is just throw shurikens at the back of the Odd1 and try and poke them down. Meanwhile, Meteos is farming his jungle, so they're taking jungle farm for lane pressure, and it doesn't really matter that much because even though the first turret did go down already, C9 here, Sneaky and Lemon did their work themselves, and they'll get the top turret to answer.
A great fast push right there. Only one turret shot lands on the champion, and Cloud9 starting out trading things equally. So, a very mirrored early game so far. Ball's happily putting some damage on Reginald, now pushing forward. A lot of pain. Reggie shields himself, but it's a little bit too late. And will Meteos look for something?
So far, the big difference has been the 10 gold from that ward.
Yeah!
But now the biggest move of the game coming out here, rushing this dragon. It's only a half-life, and Odd1's only level 3, so they can't do it with the contest from Meteos.
Big risk by them. They were hoping it wasn't warded, but it was. And as soon as Cloud9 walked down, they said, nope, just kidding. But worth a try. And Meteos makes his way back down to spots Wild Turtle. Says, get out of my jungle.
So just a little delay on the blue pill there. Well, about a little bit. He goes back to farming his jungle now. That actually has paid off a little bit for Meteos. He's a bit up on experience on the Odd1 now. So that will help out a little, but it's not going to be crucial here. Sneaky and Lemon Nation, really, though, they're extending extremely far, and they don't yet have wards to protect themselves.
I'm really interested by what happens in that lane because they did put some damage on that secondary turret. Now, when you compare to what TSM did, they didn't do anything at the bottom lane. They said, okay, we'll just get rid of that, kill the turret, and then we'll look for a dragon attempt. So there's more.
Yeah, they gained a little bit more here.
Progress was made.
For C9. They've got, a tiny chip off of that top turret. And it was just really a chance here taken by TSM. Go for the dragon. Maybe it's warded, maybe it's not. Wasn't, so they just pull out. Don't lose too much. And it's really just a very, very even game still. The thing about pushing that top lane more for C9 is that they're going to definitely need wards. They did that without any deep wards in the jungle. I mean, it's a fine move to do. They could actually send them back to that top lane, but all you have to do is have Lemon get you some vision so you can pull out if they do walk over with some ganks.
So we have some interesting new matchups coming through here because TSM have put their duo lane now to the middle and they've sent Reginald bottom. And it's interesting because Lemon Nation is actually holding up this duo lane. So it's going to be like Lemon Balls duoing and then Sneaky 1v1ing Reginald. We have really interesting matchups here in this game.
Yeah, and flexibility. We said it was going to be the name of the game here. Everybody has to be comfortable in every lane because these kinds of changes are going to be happening constantly. Odd1 coming down for a gank on this no ward by Sneaky. He's got to be very, very careful right now. Reggie's a huge wave, so generally you don't want to waste those huge waves going for a gank, but a face check might mean here we go.
He's going to take some damage. He's going to slow down Odd1, then haste himself out of there. That ward, he's like, Sneaky, you don't have any ward coverage. Hold on, I got you, dog, and then walks into an Elise.
Yeah, so it was interesting that Odd1 was in place for the gank, but since there was about 200 gold in minion wave at the turret already, Reggie just goes for the assured farm for that one, and they actually pink ward Dragon and try and force this one while Kennen is top.
They're going pretty hard. High cannot make his way down. There are a lot of damage coming out on this one, and look at that. TSM making a really good, bold move. Their second try at Dragon is successful. They've built themselves a 5,000 gold lead. Great move.
And I like how they didn't take any unnecessary harass by forcing that gank down bottom. Taking the guaranteed gold of the minion wave and then bringing everybody down, since there was no threat of more damage on that top turret. A really good trade by TSM right there, brings them up into the lead.
A great move indeed. So let's see what these guys can do to turn this one around, because Cloud9's got to say, well, we lost Dragon. Good move by you guys. Let's turn something else around. In sort of recent memory, I mean, Cloud9's been winning most of their games by outlaning the opposition and just being ahead by being the team, and they got to kind of snowball ahead on that one. I'm curious to see what they do when they finally don't have a gold lead at 8 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they were on the way to doing it again with a nice gold, laning phase gold lead, but that Dragon just paid off for TSM, and they're back in this one. It looks like High is going to be the one stuck up in this top lane now, which is good. Kennon's got that Electro Surge that he can get away with very easily, and he does have his ward over by blue buff, so one lightning rush and he'll be out of harm's way.
All right, so we'll see if High can stay safe up in this matchup. He is finally dueling Reginald for the first time. We have a quote-unquote normal lane matchup in a way, sort of.
And then Reggie leaves.
Yeah. Just kidding. No, I think that's like the mission of these guys right now, is to never have a head-to-head matchup in any like reasonable way. Wild Turtle's going to be heading up against this Kennen, though, and he's going to try to hold this turret and get the farm from pretty much safety at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be dangerous still for him, because Kennen, he's an apt tower diver right now, and if he does build up the charges on Wild Turtle, the mini stun could be a huge chunk. All that High has to do is be able to push Turtle out of the lane to gain the advantage. It's very hard to lock down an Ezreal, but pushing him out of the lane is not out of his reach.
Well, Wild Turtle so far is looking like that standard blue build right now with the double longsword. I mean, maybe that's a brutalizer, but I'm guessing that is going to be the spirit of the Elder Lizard. One thing I do want to point out on High, though, because Kennen seems to have so many builds, a lot of the Koreans I see will max W first. They actually max the Electrical Surge. He is actually maxing the Thundering Shuriken, the Q there, for some extra poke, and I'm excited to see what he does with that.
Yeah, that's all about the poke here. That's especially potent when you are pushing towers like that and you want to get free poke under turrets. Long range of that Shuriken means that you can just back out of harm's way and get the free poke down. So little nice adaptation right there. As we progress through this game, though, without any first blood, we're going to start to be looking at larger fights, and most of those are really going to depend on, will Meteos be able to get off a good elastic slingshot out of vision of TSM, because it's going to be all about that Zac initiate for Cloud9.
And we almost had a 4v3 down at the bottom lane, actually. The mid laner and jungle, I say mid laner, it's balls, but whatever. They came down from the mid lane, walking through TSM ward, and Reginald and Oddwin both showed up to defend Dyrus, but the turret was the turret. Cloud9 goes ahead. They're in structure kills. But Wild Turtle now has the push edge against High in the top lane.
Yeah, and that's going to be two people here. We have Lemon Nation also, or X-Special, excuse me. So used to seeing Lemon on that support. X-Special is coming up to support Wild Turtle in this push on top line. So we'll have to see if Meteos' presence is going to be enough to stop them.
Well, right now it's going to be an interesting one. They're about to reach turret range right here. And here's the real moment of truth for does this push work. Meteos puts a ward down. Now both know someone's going to come in from the tri-brush. Put in a little bit of damage. Arcane Shift away, and look at that Cloud9 with just easy wave clear saying, nope, we're not going to lose that turret.
Yeah, really expertly placed ward in that tri-bush. Not only does it see the tri-bush, but you get a little extra vision here on this corner for those sneaky elastic slingshots I said were going to be all important from Meteos. And something interesting about that elastic slingshot is, since Meteos maxes that first, not only do you gain maximum range, but the charge up time on the ability does not increase. So you're getting more max range, but you're also getting more distance gained per amount of time.
Yeah.
So you can actually catch people with that. So you jump a lot faster because you get to that max range at the same time.
Nice.
And it's a really good chase tool as well.
Well, that's going to be cool for him. We'll see if Meteos can keep that chasing going. Of course, so far they haven't quite found themselves any kills, but Cloud9 have built themselves a 300 gold lead, so the objective game being played by both these teams, and it's just a slight edge for the red guys so far. Sneaky has moved himself back to the mid lane. Looks like there's only one outer turret left, and they dedicate the resources to that.
Well, first blue item here for blue Ezreal. He's been burning people with that Elder Lizard, but like Jad said, it's a good build. It just takes a while to reach its full potential. You have a little bit of a lull in the period where you're buying mana for the tier that you're gonna upgrade, in which you don't get more power out of it because you're not buying AD.
Yeah, well, interesting note, by the way, as the ult from Ezreal comes across High accidentally burned his own ultimate not long ago, so
yeah.
a little effective thunderstorm there for him. Hopefully, actually the funny thing is, apparently in his first game, he also chugged his red elixir at level 1 on an accident as well, before lane even started. And he said he's actually had a new keyboard, and he's not used to it yet, so he's misclicking stuff sometimes.
Sure,
High.
the keyboard.
Uh-huh.
It looks like we are going to have a brawl here around the blue buff. Meteos goes right in on it, and Balls gets caught.
He has to flash away. Let's Bounce comes across to get some damage on the Dyrus. They actually get him down to half. Blue buff did get picked up by Meteos, but it was at least denied from Rise. It's a good thing there for TSM.
Meteos bounces in to grab it. You know, they still get it, but you're right. That would be optimal on Rise. Even though Balls has his tier stacking up, he constantly needs mana. Rise is so mana hungry in the early stages of the game. It's a huge benefit to have that.
Reginald forced to run away from High and Meteos. The rest of the team grouped up in the mid lane. Looks like we do have all 5 nearly to stand aside onto Reggie. Shield coming out from elimination. And looks like the standoff is about to begin. Cloud9 not showing any signs of leaving this area.
14 minutes in, still no first blood. Everybody keep that in mind.
Shockwave comes across, Sneaky forced to run back into the brush. Dyrus has nothing to jump to. Wild Tuna comes across, oh my god, the burst! He goes down and the ult is back from High, gets crescendoed, he's gonna fall over. 1 for 1 so far in the battle. Dyrus finding himself getting shot at. The jump's not gonna come by for Meteos. Actually times it a little bit too early. Almost gets the kill onto the odd one, but the health bars are incredibly low from TSM. They're very low on Cloud9 as well. Just the 1 for 1 and they back out.
So people always say, you know, the main difference between Ezreal players is isn't an Ezreal player who Arcane shifts towards the fight or an Ezreal player who Arcane shifts away from the fight. Right there, Wild Turtle goes straight into it, trying to get that first blood and first down. Sneaky pays for that with his life, but then High does the exact same thing. Dives in on them and feeds back 1 kill. Now it's going to be C9 on the Dragon.
No, he does not have that Zhonya. There's the initiation. A bunch of damage coming across. Red team picks up Dragon, but they're low on health, low by distance. But Reginald just gets stand aside, has to flash away. That's just going to be a Dragon, and no one will fall. But Dyrus says, okay, you'll take Dragon, I'll take top lane.
That was a really good move by Cloud9. We always talk about how the kills are not that important unless you capitalize on it with an objective. Grabbing that Dragon, huge for them because High was able to get back since he had died. He was coming from base. Now he defends the top turret right there, and he's going to delay that extra gold bounty.
Now the mid lane, though, Repel comes across, Shockwave as well. That's so good for them. Ball's taking so much damage, and he falls over. Reginald makes this kill score 2-1, and they're about to equalize the turrets 2-2.
The General dropping bombs right there. Him and Reggie with the combo. Repel up into the rafters and just fall down with the Shockwave. Beautiful play right there. Able to catch out the Rise. Still fairly squishy because he's early in that Rise build. Hasn't been able to get up any of those resistances.
They're going to get the knockup combo onto Reginald. Stand aside as well. Flash is not available. He will fall down. Oddone shows up, but he's not able to participate much in this one. Sneaky was exhausted. That also did not matter. Great kill pickup. Cloud9 making it 2-2.
You're right. So many knockups and asides here for Cloud9.
Oh my gosh, the flanking Kennen Ninja. That was not obvious whatsoever. They come through on that one. Turret goes down 3-2 in more ways than one now for Cloud9.
So we have another flipping ninja coming out of the jungle and claiming some lives here. Looks like everybody's been training fairly hard with that little furball.
It's funny too, they're not even always picking him because they wanted to play Kennen. You heard Chris say, yeah, I was going to deny that from Nian. Oh, I actually did really well with him. I don't normally play Kennen much, but...
Seems like everybody's saying that. Yeah. Even in the All-Stars, the Koreans, it was just like, well, you know, I don't even play Kennen. I was just using that so that China would ban them against us. But now I'm going to play him because he's so fun and so strong.
Kennen is, and he came back out of nowhere. Like, nothing happened to Kennen. People just started playing him again.
Oh, you play him? I will play him too.
Same with Rise. Like, it's just funny watching champions like, you know, I forgot this guy exists. My God, he's good.
Yeah, and that is actually going to get the momentum really swinging here for Cloud9 for the first time really in this game. It does feel like somebody's got this big upper hand, and we're going to look for the next move for them because all of the outer turrets have been taken down from TSM. So the map here for Cloud9 is fully open. It's going to be up to them to wisely choose their next objective.
So we'll see what that ends up being when they go for that kind of stuff. Right now, pressure is down onto Dyrus. The spinning axe is doing a lot of damage. Dyrus does not have flash available, but he does have friends, and those actually help you save your flash, make them run away.
That's TSM. You know, they've been together a long time. They're pretty good friends. They'll back up old Dyrone when he's taking axes in the back. And it looks like Cloud9 not actually forcing any objectives right now because, well, there's nothing on the map. They're just defaulting back to that sort of, you know, we saw Dignitas always do it in the early season where they just push all lanes. So they're just trying to collect farm right now until something presents itself for them to actually fight over.
Well, Hyas happily pushing the bottom lane down, but the initiation comes in from the Omnibus Elimination. Shockwave does not land. Reggie has snapped back to him, and he could not pull Elimination. That would have been potentially a surefire kill, but it misfired.
The bombs were a dud on that mission. Odd1 did not actually pick up his payload before he lifted off, so Reggie was left holding the bomb on that one, and Shockwave hits nobody. Unsuccessful mission, but they were able to grab Elimination.
As Joe would say, that was a meh wave. Let's see where this fight goes. Looks like a turret's going to go down. Minion's going to go down. Cloud9 forced to run. TSM heavily invading into the jungle. Even without Orianna ultimate, they are pretty safe right here. Picked up by the odd one. Burns his smite. TSM still looking good. Balls forced to flash away. Has the Alba coming in as well. As comes the slicing Maelstrom. The Let's Bounce, the Crescendo. Everything's coming across both teams right now. He was going to fall over for his high. Gets the kill onto his special. The team is running away. Uh-oh, Meteos. He's been split into Boblin's team.
He's on the ground.
Survive. Will it be enough? Oh, Meteos! Meteos now! Meteos gets his first death in the LCS.
Oh, TSM claimed the medal. They finally take out Meteos. First ones to do it. And that fight started off because they caught Elimination. They were able to burst him down as Shockwave follow up. Reggie's not done yet.
Absolutely great play by Reginald. Max CDR Orianna gets Shockwaves pretty quickly. Great move. Now TSM moves to 4-4 in kills. Looking to equalize the turrets as well as they push down the mid lane. Making good work here.
Like I said, that one started off by the catch on Elimination. Good cocoon by Odd1 there, getting Lemon while he was clearing out some wards, and that zoning really split Cloud9 just terribly around that blue buff. So Balls got chunked early, had to burn his flash as well, and they were not able to recover from that. You also want to give props to Xpecial for a great crescendo right there to secure that team fight.
All right, so Elimination finds Wild Turtle a little bit there, but just makes him run away. Otherwise, he's going to be fine. Sneaky, trying to farm him. Yeah, has to be afraid. Goes to catch an axe. Reggie's like, I know where that's going to be. And the side comes across. Those could be a risky move. Nope. Reggie also has friends. So TSM, with the teamwork, they're going to survive.
Yes, that giant glowing light on the ground. Good indicator of where to throw your skill shots.
Sneaky was less sneaky that time around.
Not so sneaky with Draven.
It's like bright glowing orange. I'm pretty sure most people.
Here we go. TSM looking to initiate. Odd1 goes in with the ball.
And he's going to go some damage onto Balls. And here we go. Can he run back? The Shockwave lands onto 2. Odd1 takes a bunch of damage, but Balls takes even more. The Wild Growth comes across, and Wild Turtle said, that doesn't matter to me. I already am wild. Takes that one away.
Great repositioning there by Reggie. He was not happy with Odd1's position. Moved up the ball with the command attack, just a smidgen to catch both Balls and Lemon and bring them back into the fight.
And TSM, you said it. If you can capitalize a kill with an actual objective, please do it. And they got that. So the Dragon goes down. They've traded that one back. And TSM now exactly equal in gold to Cloud9. 21 minutes in, and this game is incredibly close.
Yeah, some great plays here by TSM, bringing them right back to even here. High going to shove up this top lane a little bit, but he's not going to be able to venture very far forth because look at the map. It's so dark here for purple side. They've only got that one ward at the river. They're really lacking in vision right now. And so Lemon is going to try and get that back.
Let's see if he can do it right now. He is wearing just a regular Sight Stone and Boots of Mobility, so he's been investing more in wards and hasn't been able to really upgrade that fully. You compare that to Xpecial, he does have the Ruby Sight Stone, so he's actually having a better time warding, and I think that contributes a little bit.
Yeah, and Odd1 also helping out for TSM, grabbing up a couple of wards whenever he does go back. Very team-oriented jungler there. People always want to give him props for doing his part as well in the war on vision.
The war on vision. It's interesting because actually you do want to like deny vision. It's like, guys, don't do sight wards.
The war on fog of war.
Oh,
Lemon
man.
pushing that bottom lane by himself, grabbing up some extra gold, so he'll try and answer. The arms race in the war on vision is really huge here. He wants to be able to upgrade his sight stone.
The fog is departing. All right, Balls, though, he's going to be up against his turret in the top lane, farming stuff out. He's pretty happy with this one. And this seems to be sort of the Cloud9 sort of default setup. He's good to the point where you're like, we don't really know what to do, so we're going to rock our lanes and hope we win 1v1s. And this time around, TSM's getting a little bit better out of this one.
There we go, X Special heard, and he's one-upping Elimination. Now grabs the Oracles, but Reggie gets cut out.
Oh my gosh, the damage. Shotgun comes across, but that will not be enough to save him. Now Cloud9 says, all right, we got the kill. Your team caller, your major initiator is gone. What are they going to do to capitalize off this?
Oh, the elastic slingshots. I said that was going to be huge. And Meteos with the maximum elastic slingshot. The charge up time doesn't change at all, so he's able to get in there and surprise Reggie. Now they're going past the turret.
And they get the knock up there. Odd1 forced to run back. A lot of damage coming in. High is going to go in, all in. The crescendo comes across. He gets shut down. A little too aggressive there. Meteos forced to flash out of the base. They will get a turret for this, but they've still lost the kill. Now what's going to happen in this 4 versus 4? Slow comes down on a Wild Turtle. Darius and the Odd1 and co still chasing. Looks like Cloud9 has made their way out, though.
High in a little bit too deep there. Does pay for it with his life, but they got the turret anyway, so it wasn't a huge misstep for them. And since they had just killed Reggie, not much that TSM can force. They can't just go rush this Baron right now. It's too dangerous for them. 24 minutes almost into the game. Baron still does a large percent of your health and damage.
All right, that's going to be difficult then. So, the next major objectives coming up before too terribly long as Dragon eventually will respawn. That might be our next focus of contention. TSM, they did try to sweep out Baron, but look at that. Elimination had aggroed it with a Glitter Lance, and TSM takes a bit of damage for their trouble. So Special's going to walk right back in there and say, okay, there really aren't any wards here. I'll ward over the wall.
That is like support 101. You need to get a handle on aggroing Baron when your enemy is actually going into the clear out wards, because supports take so much damage from Baron. As you can see right now, they're going to burst it down after they cleared it out, and it's going to be up to Meteos to go for a steal here.
This is going to be rough. He does have Slingshot, but does not have Flash, so it's going to be a one-way trip for Meteos. Will he get death number 2? TSM stops hitting Baron, and Meteos has to stop. That was a beautiful move by them. There's no way across the wall this time around. This could be TSM's Baron. They're getting it lower and lower. Blue team picks it up. Meteos goes for the left bounce. Can they get the fight in time? Stand aside, hits Reginald. Shockwave hits Sneaky. Sneaky flashes backwards. There's the push onto Reggie. A lot of damage there. Balls in the mix as well. They find one. High as Zonia's. Odd1 taking a bunch of punishment. Zonia goes back up in the air. He's going to fall back down. Dyrus falls as well. 3 for 1 so far in this fight. Wild Turtle and Special forced to run back. Baron for a 3 for 1. That's a close trade.
Oh, so they did get Baron, so that was huge for them. But good job by Cloud9, able to follow that one up. TSM, they paused the Baron, waited for the elasticity of the elastic slingshot to run out, and so Meteos had to walk around. They already had the Baron, but AoE damage here. Again, the slicing maelstrom from cannons have just been deciding games today. And it looks like Cloud9 going to answer with an inhibitor turret.
They've got 7 seconds left still to make some moves. The inhibitor could be theirs as well. They've got to be a little bit aware of a potential home guard re-engage. Special and Wild Turtle putting the damage. Meteos forced to run back low on health. Crescendo comes across high and Sneaky. Oh, they dodge away and don't quite get the Ezra ult across them. There's a stand aside as well. They're still trying to run backwards, but TSM might still be looking for it.
As barely gets out with that lightning rush. High is going to be okay, though, and everybody recalls. Now they're going to try and purchase, because they did just claim about the same amount of global gold there. The buff still on important carries like Wild Turtle, though. So
and Special.
And Special, very important carry Special there.
He's the Edward school, man. He's got 2 kills.
It's actually, it gives him a lot of regen, so that's huge for Persona here, and they're going to answer with a mid-turret of their own.
All right, that is a great pickup for them. So they traded, what, 1 turret apiece after the Baron, but Cloud9 did get an inhibitor. So that's going to start putting a lot of pressure on that mid lane of the map. It's going to really just determine. So here's the weird thing, right? Because you've got 2 differing factors. So one team has a Baron buff still, and one team has super minions. What does that do to the map that I can't even comprehend who's going to start pushing harder?
So it actually has a really interesting effect, because Cloud9 can't really successfully dive a turret 5 versus 5 right now, but their lanes are going to be passively pushing. So TSM are going to have people farming, getting free farm on these lanes near their defensive turrets, and it's going to be up to Cloud9 to get their gold elsewhere, as you see the Dragon being taken right now.
And a lot of punishment onto that one. Easy pickup here, and again, you mentioned those lanes pushing, and Cloud9, yep, they're happily taking the objectives that they can. So they've now regained the gold lead, 39.3 to 38.8. This game incredibly close, and Cloud9's about to lose their record, by the way. We're hitting about 27.5 minutes in. TSM definitely a very strong opponent for these guys.
Dyrus and Odd1, though, very late to recall. They were both up in that top lane, and that means a free turret for Cloud9.
Wow, absolutely impressive. So they pushed that lead forward, now above 1,000 gold, but I don't think 1,000 gold means a heck of a lot at this point in the game. TSM grouping up, defending successfully.
And we just had the blue Ezreal turn into his final form. We've got the Muramana upgrade, and we have the Iceborne Gauntlet finished. He is at his power spike right now. He's got all the essential pieces. Next thing he needs is just a little bit of lifesteal, and he will be a kiting machine for TSM. So, gold still very close. Game, even though the TSM base is open, very much up in the air right now.
I feel like we could name Ezreal after Pokemon. Like he starts as Squirtle and ends at Blastoise when he finally gets the Iceborne Gauntlet. I feel like Pokemon Ezreal is like a good choice right here.
All right.
So Blastoise is now here for TSM. They tamed that wild one, and it's now in his Pokeball here. TSM going to grab up the Golem buff. Reginald's going to like that one a heck of a lot. But these guys, you're right, you know, they're not doing much with that Baron buff. Those lanes that keep pushing, they're really holding them back.
All right, you go with the Pokemon. I'll go with the Mega Man.
Oh.
I feel like he's got that Mega Man Ice Blaster upgrade right now. And Ezreal, yeah, he's gonna that's gonna be a huge boon to TSM because the engage from Cloud9 is really important part. If they're able to get everyone inside of the Slicing Maelstrom, then it's gonna be team fight turn out beautiful for them because bounce around and the mini stuns are going to cause so much chaos. But if TSM are able to kite it out, if you can kite out a Slicing Maelstrom, they can easily turn that right back around. And Blue Ezreal is the perfect kite machine.
That's going to be a fun one to watch, then how well TSM can coordinate their team fights because they're stuck here under the turret while Turtle levels up by ulting a minion wave at the bottom. Nice job there. He's fastly level 16 now. Still got that shiny blue stuff on his hand saying, yes, I will turn you to Frost. And we see that Cloud9, though, as the Baron buff has finally timed out, are saying, great, it's now our time to play the Siege game. Turret down below half health. Of course, the waves are still pushing into the middle and bottom.
Another, sort of side bonus of the blue build for Ezreal is that he gets so much cooldown reduction. He's got max cooldown reduction almost, 39%, and something is close enough to 40 for me. He can fire off his ultimates to clear waves even though they are passively pushing because of the downed inhibitor.
Yeah, it's back up.
He can just keep on firing that off. We saw him clear the last wave. Boom, he can get this middle wave with his ult as well.
Oh, Minos is looking for it. Yeah, he was considering it, certainly. He charged up. There are no wards there. Another Ez ult comes by. Gets a nice fashionable amount of gold right there, getting closer and closer to max level. And that's actually so convenient, though. It's keeping bottom lane from killing their turret. They're able to play the siege that you normally don't get to do when your inhibitor falls down.
Yeah, I mean, they're taking a little bit of damage because it's the super minions in the middle and the bottom wave that's pushing, but it's definitely not as bad as it should be for TSM here, and they're stalling out right now, and the bottom turret actually won't go down. It is going to take a decent amount of damage, though.
Yeah, but it looks like all the recalls are coming through. The middle inhibitor has respawned, so TSM says, all right, your push is done. No, just kidding. High and balls saw them go back and get a couple hundred damage in that turret, then realize, okay, Reginald, I'm just kidding. I didn't mean it. It's cool. We're homies. I'm going to back out. We're just let me go. Yeah,
if you don't actually have a minion wave there, towers do get, that extra resistances that makes them harder to take down. So they're definitely going to have to back off. Can't finish that one off. And what Cloud9 really needs is that Meteos, Elastic Slingshot from Fog of War, trying to catch someone on TSM out. If he's able to get a good one of those, then he can easily use Let's Bounce to group everyone up for High's Slicing Maelstrom. And that's really what they're going to be looking for in the next team fight.
It's going to be a fun thing to watch for Meteos. Let's see if you can bounce everyone back into the air and avenge yourself for that death you got earlier. I can't believe you did it.
Kind of let me down, actually. He
yeah.
is true. He is just a man like the rest of us. He is not a god.
He is a blob though. So hopefully that'll change. I don't know where that was supposed to go. But right now Cloud9 still hold on to their minor gold lead with the inhibitor back down. Baron coming up in about a minute. It's going to be another race for big objectives. We've seen these fights go back and forth, and the objectives getting just slugged down on either side whenever a fight goes down. I want to see where this goes.
Look at the tools available for each team, though. That's 10 summoners and, not 5 ultimates anymore because we just had Ezreal use his ultimate. But basically, everything is on the table right now. The next fight is going to be explosive. Everybody is going to have no excuses. You've got everything that you could possibly want ready. And here goes Meteos!
When the knockup is there, can they do the damage they need? Reggie and Wild Turtle taking a bunch of pain. They're going to try to collapse down on towards Dyrus right now. Meteos taking a bunch of pain. Odd one goes in. The Slicing Maelstrom comes across. Yeah, they get the free kill onto Elise. Dyrus taking more damage. Shotgun gets Sneaky. Sneaky flashes back, has barrier as well. Dyrus now taking more damage. Crescendo comes across almost everybody. Now can they get out? Reginald slowed by Meteos. Here comes Balls as well. The burst comes across to pick up Orianna, and the chase is on. Cloud9 looking for Wild Turtle, but the Iceborne Gauntlet slows them down 2-0. Ezel comes across, doesn't quite land. The health bar is so low on Cloud9, except for Balls.
The key sign of a very well-played team fight is when everyone on your team comes out blinking red.
Oh.
Look at Cloud9, they're all low. Actually, Lemon not blinking anymore, he's gray.
I is going to say hello to Wild Turtle, but that was a little... Oh, it wasn't! He gets the kill, but that means only Sona is alive, and the rest of Cloud9 can take down Baron.
That was actually worth it for Hyde to go down in that exchange, because he took out Ezreal with him, and that gave the rest of his team time to get Baron, unmolested, and especially he was able to pick up the kill, but it doesn't do that much for him. You know, he's already got most of the health items that he needs. It really is just going to mean probably the first aura for that support.
Ooh, Oddman's looking to try to smite steal this across the wall. No, I don't think smite actually reaches from there, but he could have like repelled and just gone for it maybe. I don't know. He didn't go for it. Either way, Baron, yes, and Dragon picked up here for the Cloud9 lineup. They're looking a little bit better here. Up about now 3,000 gold as we crest 34 minutes in.
This is so close. I mean, we saw CLG in the last game winning team fights being down 10k gold.
Yeah.
And this one is so ridiculously close. Really, the big win for Cloud9 was actually getting the Baron buffs. That's going to do a lot more for them than the extra gold here. And it's going to be, again, another instance of TSM being on the back foot. This time, the huge thing is going to be the exposed inhibitor mid, though, because Cloud9 can force a team fight without having to work around a turret. They can just come straight middle and force you to fight out in the open.
And so let's see now how they can push this down, because you got to think that's going to be their target here with the Baron buff. And Ultimate's up on everybody on that roster. It should be looking pretty okay for them. Granted, TSM has their own, but Cloud9 should have the edge. They push down in the mid lane. All five are here. They even got the blue elixir there on Balls' Rise. This could be the push they are looking for. Obi-Wan Kenobi's not going to dissuade them here. Let's see if they can get this one going.
I have to say the last team fight was really just how they wanted to play it. It was a good initiate from Meteos with the slingshot, and then Hai held on to his ultimate until they were in a great position for it, and he used to split up TSM once again. So it's very interesting. You have to watch each step of this, because neither team are grouping up for the AoE of the other.
Oh, they got a lot back on a Balls elimination, though. The Slicing Maelstrom comes across. Look at the knockups everywhere. Dyrus dropped low, trying to get out. Dyrus does fall down. High popped his Zonius. A 1-for-0 so far. Ezel whiffs everybody. They get the inhibitor. Now the next move for Cloud9. 5-on-4. They've got to be aware of the healing, though. They're going in for the turret right now in the Nexus. This could be rough. Stun lands onto High. Is it going to be enough damage? Poke comes in from Ezreal. Still trying to chase down High. Still forced to run back. He's on fire. Is he going to die? Wild Turtle gets the kill. 1-for-1, and Cloud9 are running. No, here comes the odd one. Can he find more? Rune Prison. Oh my gosh, the burst. He gets a shield, though. That's not going to be enough. Another kill picked up here for Cloud9. And they're going to back out this time. Maybe for real, but we don't know.
Yeah, they're probably going to want to. They just had odd one go. Try and catch somebody. Just kidding. Get bursted down. The no resistances in spider form for Elise actually just showing pretty big right there. He got burned down extremely quickly.
And actually, he went for his first item was Spectral Wraith, actually. It's interesting to see her go AP and Spellvent more so than max health. And I don't know if that was a really big factor there, but it's interesting to look at.
I mean, you know, all the jungle items that do build out of that machete are so cost effective. It's really just your play style, and Oddwin's been constantly spamming that item first in solo queue. Because there's a lot more, brawling in solo queue, and having that spell vamp is huge. So I guess that, carried over. It is interesting to see no Rylai's or something like that, but after this, he usually goes Locket. You get some more defensive stats, extra shields, so it kind of makes up for it there.
Yeah, that is his build path. The elimination force back pops his Shirelius as well as part of that one. And it's interesting that you kind of say that's what he's been doing in solo queue, because that to me feels like the Cloud9 playstyle in a way. They make the game like a controlled solo queue, where they all play so well individually. They play kind of sort of long laning phases, and feel free to disagree if you want, but
no, I mean that's perfectly valid. If you're a team that's made up of guys all 5 in the top 10 of your solo queue ladder, then you'll be happy to go with the solo queue game, because we're all on the top of the ladder. That just plays right into our strategy. So it's exactly how they would want it to unfold here.
All right, so origami seems to be the hobby of Cloud9. Pushing on through. Wild Turtle now level 18, holding on to this bottom lane, but middle inhibitor dead. The Baron buff has, at the very least, timed out, so that's one thing back into TSM's favor. But we saw last time this middle inhibitor had been dropped down. TSM had to hold on to a turret for a very, very, very long time and try to have Wild Turtle wave clear other lanes. We'll see if they can do this again. Game is still very close. Cloud9 looks for the bottom lane this time.
It should be a pretty easy engage here if they do want it. Again, to keep in mind the positioning at this point in the game is so crucial. You have to watch your threats being next to each other. You don't want Sneaky and Balls to stand right next to each other.
No.
Because if you can get that into a shockwave crescendo, like TSM have been looking for, then that's actually a lot of your DPS down, and you'll have to fully rely on high to distract everyone. Get in there, use a Slicing Maelstrom plus Zanya's combo.
Right now, High is playing the poke game, though, with that maxed out Q. Looking for some kind of opening there. Even what Leandry's for get even some more like long-lasting poke damage when he hits people down. Meteo's right now playing the role of initiator, hiding off behind the wall in Fog of War and saying, maybe I can land another knockup. He's gotten them. Basically, he's been the initiator for every one of these fights so far. His judgment's been great for those.
Yeah, it's exactly what they have to have with their team comp, because the only other option would be High flashing in there. Flipping Ninja with the flash Zanyas.
No, right now, though, it's Meteos just playing the mobile split pusher here. Jumps into that top lane, gets them another turret picked up here. So 7-4 in turret kills. Cloud9 are working the map to their favor, building a about 4,000 gold lead for this.
Yeah, Zach, like I said before, the Elastic Slingshot not only is a great ganking tool, it's great for getting around the map even.
Yeah.
8-second cooldown at this point in the game for him because he's gotten that cooldown reduction. High, again, is that the second ultimate
that we've seen?
That High has burned that we've actually caught. Yeah, so we don't know how many there are, but he is definitely very trigger happy.
I feel like he was like typing I'm recalling and didn't hit enter or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, High, you got to sort that problem out. That's like at some point that's going to be like really bad.
I mean, to say the least, it's a little embarrassing.
I know why they banned Karthus.
Oh, everybody would see that one. There's no way you're gonna get out of free if you throw that Karthus ultimate. What's this large laser beam on my head?
All right, well, Cloud9 have picked up the Dragon, though. They've actually kept good control of those neutral objectives. They've gotten the only Barons. That's actually completely incorrect, but Dragons have been in their favor. Meteos wave through again in mid, and Baron is actually back up. So the battle is going to continue for the neutral objectives. These guys, as much as they like make openings into the enemy base, the defense from both sides has been so good that neither team has ever like even really come that close to closing out the game.
40 minutes already, and this game has just been tense the whole time.
Yeah.
It's definitely very, very close here. I mean, we still have... Okay, so that was the last super minion that they just killed off, but the inhibitor is exposed. And it is going to be easy for Cloud9 to force the one that they want. Baron buff is up as well, though.
Here comes the re-engage from the side, though, from High. Gonna get as many stuns and knockouts as he can. Look at the damage up on the back line. Wild Turtle with a ton of shield. Shotguns comes across so many. Sneaky is unstoppable, picking up a kill. Darius in the front. He has to force back as well. Ball's still getting jumped on. Wild Turtle takes so much damage. Oh, that is a 4-for-0 so far. Cloud9 wiped the floor with TSM in that fight.
There we go. You get the flanking engage here for Cloud9. That was what they wanted to use. Balls was able to distract. He was basically leading them into a quarter like some 300 move, and then everyone jumping over for the avalanche. It looks like the surrender is even going to come out after that ridiculously intense game.
Cloud9 defeating the defending North American champions. Yes, indeed.
No inhibitors down and TSM lose.
Wow. 40. I mean, you got 40-second respawn time.
I mean, everybody's dead, but I guess they're just like, yeah, you know, you guys got us. They were obviously going to shove down the middle, and you can get it before everyone responds. But it's still that's definitely the first game we've had where a zero inhibitor down win.
Way to go!
I suppose, yeah. Well, I mean, they were knocking on the front door right as the surrender vote came through. I don't think it was a rage surrender, though. I really think that was.
It was obvious that Cloud9 can finish that off because the death chambers are too long.
Okay.
It's just. Very surprising.
right.
It's very surprising to see. I guess we're trending more towards the StarCraft manner style. Well, they'll call it GG when they know they're beat. That just hasn't really been the normal thing in League of Legends yet, where like people don't want to surrender. They want to watch their Nexus explode here. So this is really a new thing. So I like that.
I mean, and it is a lot of respect given to Cloud9 saying, yeah, there's no way you throw this one. We know you've got it at this point, right? And yeah, you said it like verbatim, right? Like inhibitors weren't dead, but it's like, you got it.
I mean, yeah, everybody's in the Xpecial could pull off some hero moves. They don't have faith in Xpecial defending against the entire Cloud9
He voted
team.
no, right? It's 4-1 vote.
It was a 5-0 vote. Even Xpecial had no faith in himself.
Wow.
Sad.
That is a sad hamster. But guys, we've got a replay of one of those amazing fights. This was a fun game to watch. Kobe,
this was a ridiculous game to watch. Very tense all game long, and we can see the Baron fight this one. So this was just after they let the Elastic Slingshot expire so they could secure the kill. But Meteos gets right in there, and that's a let's bounce for everybody. The Shockwave only on Sneaky means there's no more AoE left for TSM, and they get destroyed by the high ultimate right there. They can just clean everything back up, and really the sustained damage from this team comp of Cloud9 just too much for TSM right there. If you can't Shockwave more than one person, then that comp is going to crumble.
And you saw it right there. And actually, one of the things you mentioned was actually the mark of a good team fighting team is that all the health bars are low, but they're all still alive at the end there. I watched Balls for most of that fight, and he kind of got in there, did a whole bunch of damage at once, spurs it through with his ultimate, and then was like, I'm at like 1/3 and started kiting back from Dyrus. And like knew exactly what kind of damage he could take and got through it. It's just, I like seeing games like this where it's not that there was no action, right? You said it in the middle of the game. It was tense the whole way through. The gold lead never more than like 3,000 gold apart. Advantages going back and forth. Turrets, dragons, barons. Like, that's the kind of game you watch, and you're like, I know both the teams are excellent. Like, neither can close it out, but it's because of how good the other team is, not because of missteps.
You have to give props. I mean, I think Chris had it right when he said these are two teams you have to be scared of, because both of them played really, really well throughout that entire game. And you really have to give props to TSM, even though they did go down. Especially with the mana move that we haven't seen before, the surrender coming out with their inhibitor standing.
Yeah, so, of course, a very, very good game. And we're not even done, guys. Coming up, we're going to be joined by Cloud9 Sneaky to talk about their huge 2-0 start. And then it's our final game of opening day when Team Coast takes on their former shot caller Bloodwater and Vulcan. The North American LCS Summer Split will continue right after this.